Yo, welcome back, guys, to another Chubbs Reviews. And today we're going to be reviewing Batman the Animated Series, a 90s cartoon, if you will. We're going to be talking about, should you watch it as an adult today or a teenager? Does it hold up to today? How is it for kids? How did it set the standard? Because I'm sure you guys have all heard about this shit series, and if not, as I start mentioning who's in the series and what the series did for Batman and the DC universe as a whole, I'm sure it'll come around to you and you'll understand. Sorry if my videos have been a bit inconsistent lately on uploading days. I know people probably don't care too much, but I've been debating on even taking a break just because not nothing serious is happening, like bad wise anyway, but helping my grandma move and helping people move and just trying to do life shit. Takes you out during the day. You might not want to upload every day, or at least the days I have set though, and that's on me though because I've made a schedule Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I should be able to stick to that, but it's been a struggle lately to stick to that. And after a year of not, I don't know. Let me not get into that. Anyway, for Batman the Animated Series, uh, it doesn't hold up as an adult, or what is the show even about? One thing that you might not like about it is it is very episodic, or it is an episodic show. Like most cartoons are, obviously. It surprises me when they're not. One episode does not necessarily lead into the next, but things do happen early that can come back later. Like villains' first appearances obviously are different than their like third appearance. They kind of grow and they develop those things there. I do actually recommend this show overall to adults, to teenagers, if you are a fan of Batman, especially if you want to play any Batman games or if you just want to know any Batman knowledge. I would not recommend every single episode because I didn't even watch every single episode. Like I watched a few, especially some of the bad ones that I made myself sit through to see how bad the series can get. Episodes like I've got Batman in my basement. It's like one of the Penguin's first episodes if you watch them in the order that's on HBO Max. I watched this all on HBO Max, by the way. Um, and it's just not a good episode. It's just boring. It's crazy how the series can go from episodes like that are just stupid and silly and just straight up for like 2 year olds to like episodes I think it's called In the Grey Ghost or something like that, and it's basically about Batman, him as a kid, Bruce Wayne as a kid, was watching this show about the Grey Ghost, and it was basically what inspired him to kind of dress the way he does and act like the way he does, become the symbol that he is. I mean, obviously his mom and father dying and all that actually inspired it, but it's just kind of like an idol that he looked up to when he was younger, and now that he's older, he come across that guy, and just your idols aren't always who you want them to be when you actually meet them. And it was just an interesting episode. You don't get that type of Batman story from any movies or games. You get straight up villains to hero shit, and there are quite a few. There's like, I mean, I wouldn't say there's a lot. There's like at least a handful. It's like five episodes that are very personally like Bruce Wayne. As much as they can get dark type episodes, a lot of it's kind of hinted at since it is a kids show, which makes it even kind of more dramatic and more darker because it's more like him struggling, being able to deal with everything that's going on. And that's what this show overall is for Bruce Wayne. And Kevin Conroy, the voice actor for Bruce Wayne or Batman, is probably the definitive Batman voice. Christian Bale does great, and I think he's like the only one that everyone agrees is great. But Kevin Conroy, I would say, is just it's just great, and it's all the different tones that he has going on, and just the distinctive detective voice is just really good. And like I said, the Bruce Wayne, I almost said Bruce Banner, I think a few times. I'm sorry if I didn't. Bruce Wayne going through his shit in this is good. And then you also got obviously the villains, and that's why I got into the show. Really was to see all these villains' origin stories and kind of how they progress over time. The show hits you with quite a few origin stories right away because it's obviously the beginning of the show. Um, with like Clayface had an interesting origin story. Mr. Freeze is one of the highest like interesting characters because of this show, the Heart of Ice episode very early on. I mean, if you don't want to watch this show and you don't believe me and you shouldn't watch it, at least just look up the Heart of Ice episode and watch that episode alone. It's probably the single best episode, or at least one of my personal favorites. I mean, I could say that about a few because there's like an episode where you got like these four villains. It's like Killer Croc, Joker, Penguin, and someone else. I think Poison Ivy, and they all sitting around playing poker, and they tell a story about how they almost killed Batman, and it's just very interesting to see all their different point of views. And obviously, I've been waiting to get to it, but the Joker, I mean, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker voicing the Joker, is the best Joker. I mean, I'm sorry, but it just is. At least voice actor wise, if we're talking live action, that's completely different. Even though I wish they would throw Mark Hamill in an old Joker movie, like where he's just all old. But his voice is just fucking perfect. His laugh is just spot on. It just, I mean, Heath Ledger does great. Joaquin Phoenix, I love both of those. I haven't done reviews, I think, on either of those movies yet, but I love both those movies and both those Joker takes. But they're both, when they both got made or are made, or when I do think of them, I compare them to Mark Hamill's Joker. Every time I hear a Batman, I compare it to Kevin Conroy's Batman. This is the definitive set for that. Uh, Not only to define these two characters and basically what standard to hold them up to. Same with Mr. Freeze, like I've said, that basically held a standard up to where this dude is awesome. He has this crazy not crazy, but it's just a tragic kind of Romeo Juliet type love story going on. Mixed in with Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn, I like, especially in this show, but not as much as I would have like originally, because Harley Quinn is kind of thrown into everything nowadays, and she's basically like the female Joker. You know, she's got her own movies and everything, and I kind of enjoy them because I like Harley Quinn. But it's just there's a lot of Harley Quinn going on, and this is actually where she originated from. If you didn't know, like she was not a character in the DC world until this show made her Joker's like basically right hand woman. But it's not like a romantic relationship. I mean, they kind of like each other in it, but Joker like does domestic violence on this woman many times. Pushes her out windows, slaps her, tells her how terrible she is. It is quite a crazy experience to see this. It reminds me, if you guys ever watched the anime Death Note, how the girl in that is towards Light, the anime, not the movie, but the anime. But the main character is called Light in that, and the way the girl obsesses over him. That's basically how Harley Quinn is for the Joker in this. But anyway, it made her a definitive character. It made her, you know, the character she is today is the first time she was in something was in this. So yeah, and also there's the Mad Love episode which explains her origins. Like I said, you get all these great origin stories. They're kind of all similar in like, oh, the big bat or some business screwed over a guy and which makes him go crazy and screw over other people. But they're all told relatively well. Like I said, I always remember Clayface's and Sub Zero's, Mr. Freeze's, um, and also we got like the Robins in this show. Dick Grayson, Master Dick. You know, we got a lot of Alfred in here. I constantly hear Bruce Wayne be called Master Bruce. We hear Dick Grayson get called Master Dick, and I'll never forget that from this show. I think this is a phenomenal Dick Grayson. He's just your typical kind of smart, good kid. He doesn't overdo the nerdiness side of anything. He doesn't do the trying to be too cool thing. He's just an average kind of kid, and him and Batman slowly do have this rift, and you kind of see the Nightwing transition in the show, and I do enjoy that. And then you see a new Robin like Tim Drake, which is the young kind of, actually a young kid that's a fan of Batman, you know, becomes Robin, which is really cool. And again, it's not corny. Dick Grayson has his own kind of tragic backstory. Tim Drake as well. And it's all not corny. It takes a minute for the show to get going. I feel like there's a lot of first season episodes. The way it's ordered on HBO Max is kind of weird. But season 2 and 3 are very solid, and like the endings and quite a few episodes in the long ass season 1 are good. I would just kind of skip around, maybe look up a watching guide, look up the best, most essential episodes, read descriptions of episodes, and find out what you want to watch. The show, for the majority part, does hold up today. You could sit and watch every episode if you wanted every little detail of Batman. But like I said, shit like I've Got Batman in My Basement wasn't that great. But there's great Joker episodes, like where he's, you know, tries to put his face on all the fish in Gotham. So when people catch fish, he can like put what do you call that? Copyright the fucking fish because it looks like him or something like that. It's just it sounds silly, but that is something Joker would do, and it's just schemes for him to get money. I remember Joker's Favor where he like some road rage happens to this guy does road rage to Joker, and Joker pulls him over and says, "You owe me a favor in like 2 years, not because I let you live, or because you owe me a favor sometime in the future because I let you live." And then the guy like is just haunted like for 2 years. Until Joker finally gives him the favor, and it's a very interesting episode. So many interesting episodes, but also some that aren't great. You do get Catwoman. Didn't love any Catwoman things. Didn't love any Penguin things. I think Penguin was done fucking terrible in the show, to be honest. Scarecrow done okay, then does pretty well towards the end. Trying to think. I'm sure I'm missing villains, but there's every villain almost pretty much is in the show. And I just really enjoy their origin stories and how they, the conflicts that they have with Batman, especially Joker. Obviously, Joker's not in as many episodes as you would like. He's probably in like 20 out of the 100 maybe, which is probably decent. And he makes appearances in episodes that he's not a main villain of. You also get people like Killer Croc and Mad Hatter and just all types of people. Like I said, I think it's called Azrael. No, not Azrael. Etrigan. Etrigan the demon was also in it. At this point, I'm just rambling, talking about characters in the show. I already said I do recommend the show. It does have some flaws. I just like all the Batman universe here. It's its own concluded show. It obviously does go on to create a DC animated universe in the 90s with Superman the animated series and Justice League Unlimited and so on and so forth. But I don't know if I'll get around to reviewing those. I spent a lot of time watching this show, so I wanted to talk about it and see if anyone else watched it to this day and or at least remembers it and what their thoughts are on it. So let me know down below. My final verdict on the show overall is probably, I mean, if I had to give one, my final verdicts are so whatever. But it's probably just a 9 out of 10. It's the standard for Batman. It's obviously not a perfect series, but it's the standard. So, and it's always probably will be. Even though I didn't grow up with the show, it still is a high standard for me. I do prefer the live action stuff, I guess, because that's just the way I grew up on it. But I can see why people who grew up on this are so attached to it. I definitely understand. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next video. Peace out.